Hey guys, tonight we slip straight out of your cozy bedroom and wander into a world where the moon hangs pale above crooked wooden roofs, the mud sticks to your boots, and every breath carries the sting of smoke, sweat, and something you really don't want to identify. This is medieval Europe, your new home, except you probably won't survive this. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, I'd love to know. Drop your location and the local time in the comments. I always find it fascinating to see where you're tuning in from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You shuffle through a crooked wooden gate, shoulders brushing against damp planks. The street you step into isn't really a street. It's a muddy trench between sagging timber houses, where thatched roofs nearly kiss in the middle. The only light comes from a single torch flickering outside a tavern door, its flame guttering as the night wind hisses through gaps. You want to think of it as quaint, but the deeper truth is you feel danger everywhere. A man lurches past you, his breath carrying ale so sour it could peel paint, if paint even existed here. He doesn't say a word, just mutters, and you realize how exposed you are without familiar city lights or phone screens. That small rectangle of glowing comfort, forget it. Here, darkness rules. The funny thing is, people back then didn't call this the Middle Ages. That's a label slapped on centuries later. To them, this was just life. Daily routine. Work, eat, pray, hope you don't die from a random cough. Scholars still argue whether the term Dark Ages even makes sense. Sure, knowledge slipped, but pockets of art, science, and trade were still glowing in monasteries and Islamic golden cities. For you, though, just dropped here without warning. It's dark, it's filthy, and it's terrifying. You hear bells in the distance, a reminder that the church controls time here. There are no clocks on your wrist, no buzzing phones to tell you the hour. Time moves with bells, matins, vespers, compline, each ringing pulling people into rhythm. You'd think it would be calming, but it feels like a leash. Your stomach rumbles, and you imagine grabbing something to eat. But remember, no convenience stores, no fridge humming in the corner, no delivery apps. Everything is tied to land and season. If you showed up out of nowhere, you'd already be in trouble by now, because you have nothing. No bread, no coins, no tools. Just you, your soft modern body, and a place that looks at strangers with suspicion. That's another thing. People here don't welcome outsiders. You're noticed instantly, your clothes strange, your speech alien. They might laugh at you, or worse, accuse you of being a spy, a thief, or, lucky you, a witch. And punishments, we'll get to that later. For now, you just keep your head down. The air is thick, not just with the wood smoke curling from chimneys, but with smells of waste, animals, and people packed tight together. Here's a quirky fact. Many medieval homes kept livestock literally under the same roof as the family, separated by a thin wooden partition. Warmth in winter, yes, but you also sleep with your cow's aroma cuddling your nostrils. You shiver and tug at your collar, already itching for escape. This isn't even the worst of it. You've only just stepped in. But the strange thing is, despite the misery, you catch a flicker of beauty. Maybe it's the way the stars blaze sharper here, without pollution to blur them, or the way the torchlight gilds the rain-slick cobbles like molten gold. The medieval world is brutal, but it has an undeniable rawness. Still, that beauty doesn't erase the fact that you'd never last here. Your journey has only just begun. Tomorrow morning, if you make it, you'll wake to the sound of roosters, smoke, and maybe hunger gnawing at your belly. But for now, you find a corner to hide in, pressing your back against rough timber, praying the night passes quickly. And you realize, as a rat scurries past your foot, tail brushing your shoe, that this is just the beginning of why you wouldn't last 24 hours. The first thing that truly tests you here isn't the darkness or even the suspicion of strangers. It's the smell. You wake with it pressing down on you, a sour, choking fog that clings to your clothes and seems to crawl into your lungs. You didn't notice it fully last night, Maybe because fear dulled your senses, but now, in the pale gray morning, it hits like a hammer. You step outside, and your feet squelch into a slurry of mud, straw, and, you guessed it, human waste. Streets in medieval towns weren't lined with neat stone pavements. They were public dumping grounds. Chamber pots from upstairs windows were emptied with a lazy flick, their contents splattering onto the cobbles below. If you heard someone shout, "Gardy Lou," in certain regions, it wasn't a greeting. It was a warning to duck before raw sewage rained down. You look up nervously now, and sure enough, a splash narrowly misses you. The stench follows you everywhere. Manure from animals, smoke from damp wood fires, sweat from bodies that rarely see a bath. You wrinkle your nose, but there's no escape. People here don't even notice. It's the background hum of their existence. For you, raised on showers, deodorants, and laundry detergent, it's unbearable. A quirky detail? Soap wasn't unheard of, but it was made from animal fat and lye. Harsh, caustic stuff that could burn your skin if handled wrong. Most people just used water, and not even clean water at that. In fact, many believe bathing opened the pores and let disease sneak in. Better to stink than to risk your health, they thought. Irony, right? You drift toward a well, hoping for fresh air, but even here, trouble brews. Wells were often contaminated by waste seeping through the ground. Typhoid, dysentery, cholera, names you know from textbooks, but here they're just the bloody flux, or the great stomach curse. Drink without boiling it, and you could be gone in a week. Scholars still argue whether medieval city life was outright more dangerous than rural fields, but either way, you're in trouble. A group of women shuffle past, balancing wooden pails, their skirts dragging in the muck. They barely glance at you. Their arms are strong, their faces weathered, their eyes carrying that dull endurance of people who know life is hard and short. You envy their resilience, even as you gag at the odors.